front garden of the rectory, we have an olive tree. It's not part of an olive grove. It doesn't even have a companion tree. It simply grows by itself on the house side of the hedge. And I imagine that one day the hope is to take olives from the tree and to do something with them. Because, of course, that's the purpose of an olive tree. On Monday, we thought about the vision that Zechariah had of a gold lampstand, a bowl, and 2 olive trees. On Wednesday, although we were expecting an answer to the question, what is the purpose of the 2 olive trees, the angel of the Lord instead spoke about Zerubbabel and the role he would have in rebuilding the temple of God. Well, today we'll combine what we saw on Monday with what we read about on Wednesday, and finally Zechariah will get an answer to his question about the 2 olive trees. Zechariah 4 verse 11. Then I asked the angel, what are these 2 olive trees on the right and the left of the lampstand? Again I asked him, what are these 2 olive branches beside the 2 gold pipes that pour out golden oil? He replied, do you not know what these are? No, my Lord, I said. So he said, these are the 2 who are anointed to serve the Lord of all the earth. Now, I'm not sure why Zechariah had to ask twice, 3 times in total about the olive trees, but I wonder if it gives emphasis to the 2 individuals mentioned right at the end of this passage. Because when you ask, what's going on with the trees, you tend to view them collectively. But when you're looking at 2 trees and you ask twice, what are these 2 olive trees? I imagine that you are visualizing each one individually. Now, whether that's accurate or not, what we're told is that the 2 olive trees have a purpose because they represent 2 individuals whose role or anointing is to serve the Lord. Now, I'll go into a lot more detail on Sunday and bring out some things from this chapter, though I've kind of held back because I need more time than really the devotions allowed to hopefully excite you about this vision. However, what we can say with a fair amount of certainty is that the 2 individuals symbolized by the 2 olive trees who will serve the Lord are Joshua and the branch. Okay, Joshua, as we've already read in chapter 3 of Zechariah, is given the task of serving the Lord as high priest. The branch is the only other individual in the book of Zechariah who is spoken of as a servant of the Lord. Okay, now I mentioned last week that the branch is an image throughout the Old Testament that points to the Messiah, the long-awaited Christ. However, in terms of context, it's fair to say that if Joshua is one of the olive trees, that there is an expectation that the other olive tree would be a compatriot of Joshua. Again, on Sunday, I'll show you why I think that the branch is a reference to Zerubbabel and also a reference to Jesus. Until then, what we can take from this passage is that like the olives on an olive tree, both individuals have a purpose, and that purpose is to serve the Lord. And since the golden lampstand is one of the articles of the temple of God, it makes sense that the 2 olive trees will serve the Lord by serving the temple of God. And so friends, with that in mind, I wonder what comes to mind when you hear the phrase, serve the Lord. Okay, I think we all serve the Lord in various ways, doing various tasks, but what does it mean to you to serve the Lord? Why don't you take a minute to consider your answer to that question, and then spend another minute in prayer and ask God to help you to better serve the Lord.